20th anniversary coming up of 9/11, what do you hope people will think about?
I hope they think about the lives that were lost and continue to do so, and to help the families that are still affected.
Do you think there's anything that as a country we can learn from 9/11?
I hope to be more patriotic and to support your fellow mankind.
Well, a lot of people may not remember, but the days after, it was a thunderstorm, and I just remember like waking up at night and not being able to sleep because I didn't know what those sounds were, and just the fear of not knowing, you know, that was thunder or what it was. And we lived in North Newark at that time, so we were told that was a target area, and so we were just very, very afraid, and you know, for our lives and our children's lives.
I was in like 3rd grade, but very, very, very vaguely. My dad was actually supposed to go into World Trade Center that day, but he was delayed, and so he was on the train still, and the train got stuck in the tunnel, and they actually pulled me out of school, and I went back home with my mom, and then we only found out in the evening where he was because they had no signal in the tunnel. I think I was just scared and nervous. Yeah, mostly.
So then, what lessons might we learn for today?
Well, you know, I think one thing is that we don't just blindly trust everyone. You know, we have to
Think on our
be
feet.
informed. We have to think on our feet. We have to be aware of what's going on around us. Even the subtleties of just being in a group like this, you know, you have to be more aware of what's going on around you.
But neither do we want to feel fearful at all. You know, we don't want to live a life of fear or anxiety from that, because we just feel personally that you know, life is a rich time and there's a lot to offer in it, and we want to take advantage of every day and just not live it in fear.
What do you hope Americans will be thinking and remembering?
You know, I think they should remember the bravery and the sacrifice. I think they should remember how hard people throughout the last 20 years have fought to keep people here at home safe. And I guess it's a cliche, but I think people should remember that freedom is never free.
I was a junior in high school, and I can't believe it's been 20 years. For me, I was in high school science class, and you know, we heard a plane that hit one of the Twin Towers. Not knowing really at first what happened, they turned on the TVs, and once everything began to unfold and we found out what was actually happening, it was just a really scary time for everyone. A lot of people in the school and in my class had either relatives or knew people that worked in New York City and in and around the towers at the time, and you know, it's just a big uncertainty.
What could you hope people will remember on the 20th anniversary?
First and foremost, just all the lives that were lost that day and the bravery of the men and the women who were there.
We'll be starting shortly.
What do you hope people will think about?
I hope people will think that it was very horrible for those people to do, and I hope it never happens again.
What should we be thinking of on this 20th anniversary?
Hopefully it never happen again, I would think. Yeah, it was tragic, absolutely horrific.
Have we learned anything since then?
Yeah.
Like what?
Just to care for everybody, care for all mankind. Everybody counts. Take care of each other. That's
like, I mean, it's something that happened before I was born, and so it feels like 9/11 ushered in just a completely new era in this country, and it's the post 9/11 era, you know, like everyone's aware of 9/11 and what happened that day and what we're supposed to do to prevent that. So it's I never lived in a world without 9/11, so I can't really say there's a contrast, but it feels like things changed a lot when that event happened, and so I'm part of the aftermath.
Americans will be thinking about on this 20th anniversary?
Today we never forget, but we also must have the generations behind us remember.
What should they remember?
They should remember all the sacrifices made and how fearless our first responders were. We all remember that day where we were. I remember holding my 6-week-old baby and watching as those brave men and women went into the building with no questions asked.
Unity from that day and that apply today?
Oh, absolutely. We didn't ask about who was red, who was blue. We all came together. We all put out our hands and helped brought all of us up from the rubble, and we need to continue to do that. And I believe we're there. We are going to do that.
Because my husband's a vet. My sister lost 20 friends in Cantor Fitzgerald that day.
So on the 20th anniversary, what are you going to be thinking?
About us being stuck in Lake Tahoe and trying to get home, driving cross country. And people couldn't understand why we cut our vacation short out there. And my husband was anti-terrorist, so he took us back roads all the way home. Yes.
How do you think Americans should look upon this day?
Reflection.
And just like you said, never forget this. It gives me goosebumps to think about it still.
Do you think we've learned anything from that awful day?
I think some have. I'm not sure everybody has.
What do you think is the takeaway we should have?
Can never let it happen again. Have to keep vigilance and can't let it happen again.
And be respectful of our service people, our firefighters, our police.
First responders.
First responders that day. It was amazing.
What do you hope Americans will be thinking on 9/11 this year?
Just remember, never forget.
Never forget. Never forget.
A lot of efforts would put into not having some repeat, but we have to be ever vigilant and never forget.
Do you think there are any lessons that we can learn about unity from that day that we can apply today?
Sure, the country really came together, and it takes effort or a unification of purpose and focus. So by telling people never forget, they'll stay focused.
Do you think we can achieve that kind of harmony again?
When push comes to shove, if need be, hopefully not.
I mean, I think like in the aftermath of 9/11, a lot of the changes that were made, we are still kind of like growing into that almost, in terms of changes in like the mindset and the attitude of the people and things like that. And then of course how that's like influenced politics over the last 20 years, as everyone knows. So these are all kind of things that we're still, I guess, kind of in the figuring out stages of. So I'm curious what the next 20 years will bring of post 9/11 world.
What did you learn from 9/11?
A lot of things. I learned that there's more that we have in common than that separates us. I learned a great deal about human bravery in the face of tragedy. And how compassionate people can be towards one another that they don't even know. I watched on that day one of my coworkers, who is a Lodi Ambulance Squad, a longtime volunteer and a veteran, jump up from his desk, not knowing what happened, and go immediately to New York to help. I remember the toll booth operators letting people go through the toll because we were all crying. I mean, it's a very emotional day. We were able to see the smoke and the damage from where we lived, and I just remember my husband and I not being able to speak to one another, but we both left our jobs to go pick up our small children from daycare, and just people running and scattering, and then us both meeting each other with our children and not knowing what was happening. I will never forget what that was like, and then just the kindness thereafter.